we want to know, like, why this resonated with you, this subject that we are all talking about today, of going from emotionally confused to joyful. How does that resonate, and why are you here?
Well, I mean, well, of course, it resonates because you and Donna have put this together. And I love that everything that you two do. So first of all, first and foremost is that. Secondly, I love the fact that you have brought together so many people, because for me, it is about, serving others, right? And I truly believe that it takes a village. Right. It takes a village for us to become more. And so the fact that you have curated and brought together so many great people, for us to share our own insights and experiences so that we can help others know that they're not alone. And for me, that's the biggest thing, is so that people know they're not alone. Yeah.
Exactly. Beautiful. Yeah. Okay, so then we'll leave you with your thing. We'll kick ourselves out just once more.
I get to
introduce
her a little bit more than just her name.
Is that we know her so well?
We know what, we have different skills we bring each and every day. So Lisa, first of all, is a transformation maven. She runs and operates I Have the Storm coaching and consulting, and she truly helps people move from this space of feeling lost and almost like this sense of abandon. What's going on inside of me, and how do I articulate this? How do I move through it? So we're really excited that she's going to help us really use, which she is amazing at, an internal communication expert, and she uses the power of words. And she's going to take us and help us use breath and words to really shift our state. So now, without further ado, we will get off the screen and leave it for you, Lisa, to do what you do best. So thank you.
You're muted again.
Okay.
There you go.
Hi, Beth. So thank you for that. And so so today I'm going to invite you all to, before we even begin, I want to invite you all to take a breath. And so I would really like for you to inhale and exhale. And when you exhale, I'd like to invite you to actually open your mouth so that you can hear yourself in the exhale. And I'm going to be speaking today or engaging in a conversation with you today around the vibration of our words, breath, and the sensory cues that we get in our bodies. My whole work life has been about communication. How we communicate with ourselves and how we communicate with others. And in the last few years, in all the work that I've done over the years with all of my clients, what I've noticed is so many people, when we're stressed, when we're frustrated, when we're moving through things, we often feel misunderstood, we feel unheard, and we feel unseen. And it really is about, how do I tap into what's going on inside of me as a way of how I engage with others? And because my background is communications, words is my superpower. And words carry vibration. Words are matter in the realm of sound. And, we hear it all the time, right? Your words create your reality. Right. And yet we don't know the mechanics of it. How does that actually work? And the mechanics of it is, words are attached to the sensations, feelings, what we label as feelings and emotions within the body. And then how do I use my breath in order to do that? So I'm going to invite you all to consider a situation that you may have been experiencing or experienced, say, in the last 5 or 10 years, that you would have labeled as, a not fun, not, a bad experience. And I just want you to take a moment to capture some of the words around how you spoke to yourself and how you spoke to others, around that experience. And as you just take, a moment, I'm going to give you a minute to, sort of capture your words. And as the words come to you, I want you to notice what goes on in your body. So I've got my trusty little timer here. I'm going to give you about, 30 seconds to capture some words. and just noticing what's moving in your body as you're capturing those words. Got about 8 seconds left. Okay, so you've now captured some words around, when you're moving through a difficult situation. Now I want you to take a couple of breaths, a couple of water breaths, which is just a inhaling and exhaling without any stopping on the inhale or exhale. It's just a natural flow of breathing. And now I want you to think about an experience that you've had in your life, within now or the last, 10, 15 years, where you were super happy, super excited about something that was going on in your life. And I want you to, again, capture the words that you would have used to describe this moment in time where you were super excited and super happy and stoked about things. So again, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to think of an experience. Hopefully you've all got something. And now think of some of the words. And I want you to capture that on your phone, on your computer, on a piece of paper. You got about 10 seconds left. And again, notice what's going on in your body as you're noticing the words that you're using about this super excited time. Right? Okay. So now what I'd like you to do, as you think about the words that you used to describe that time that wasn't fun, that was difficult, and you see the words that you use for the times that were fun and exciting. What if you were to use those words for those difficult times, in terms of maybe, because often when we come through something, now we're able to see the results of it, right? And we're back in that phase. Well, what if we were to shift the words that we were using in that difficult time to something else? Because this is about perception and context. When we are moving through difficult times, we contextualize our words in a certain way. And oftentimes the words that we're using in that context are words that actually create constriction in our body. And it's about coming up with words that invite openness and invite flow within us. And so, as an example, I teach a public speaking course, and nobody ever wants to take the course. It's part of a program that the holistic nutritionist takes, and nobody ever wants to be in the course. And so, I might have one person that's like, woohoo, I'm in a public speaking course, right? Everybody else is like, I don't want to be here. I hate public speaking, all of that. And so I know it's about shifting how they feel about public speaking. And so often I'll ask them, so when you think about public speaking, what moves in your body? And they'll say things like, oh, I get really hot, my heart beats really fast, my palms get really sweaty, I'm sweaty on my underarms, my butterflies in my stomach, right? They list all these things. I'm anxious, and they'll say I'm anxious or I'm fearful. So then I get them to take a breath, and I get them to do exactly as I said with you, to think about a time that was really exciting in their life. And the sensations in their body are, I get butterflies in my stomach, my face gets hot, my heartbeat gets a little faster. And oftentimes the sensations in our body are similar to when we're moving through something that we think is a bad to something that we think is good. So I have labeled something as anxious. I'm anxious and fearful in this moment. And I label something as I'm excited in this moment, and the body sensations are similar. So the words that we use might be different. The body sensations are similar and they're familiar. And so when I ask you to use different words, to use the words that you came up when you were excited, I want you to pay attention to the body sensations. Like, what are the things that are moving in your body? We use words and, words in terms of our emotions. And the emotions are these umbrella words that we use to describe things that are happening to us. I feel angry. I feel frustrated. I feel alone. I feel depressed, right? These are all great words. And each of us experiences those words differently. And when we're in conversation, we tend to think, I have this experience of this. And so when I'm speaking to someone else and I say these words, they're going to understand what it is that I'm saying. Well, here's the thing. We all experience these words differently in our body. Anger for some might be in their stomach and it's a tightening. For some, it might be something that's happening in their chest. For some, it might be something that's happening in their face, right? And this is all information that our body is giving us around the experience of this thing that we're calling anger or frustration or guilt or shame or whatever it is, happiness, exuberance, right? It's all that. And so my invitation for you is to begin to notice the sensations in your body as well as the words. And as you begin to notice the sensations that are happening in your body, to then consider using different words to describe it. We carry judgments on the words that we use when we're speaking to ourselves. I'm feeling angry. What have I been taught about anger? Right? When we're kids and we're having, say, a tantrum, a meltdown, right? We learn that's a bad thing. Well, if we were kids and when we had a tantrum or a meltdown and our parents went, woohoo, that's a lot of fire energy moving there. Let's move that energy. We would think tantrums were the best thing in the entire world. Right? So we carry judgments in our words. And so shifting the words that we use for a different vibration, that to carry a different vibration allows us to shift our state. So, emotionally confused to joy, right? In my confusion, if I have a judgment about what confusion is, I'm going to think this is not a good place for me to be. And I want to move to that place of joy. I want to invite you to drop in, what's the sensation in your body around that, right? Being lost, right? When we're confused, we're lost. And what do we say when you're lost in the woods? To sit so that you can be found. And so the invitation again is to sit and allow yourselves to notice and come up with different words that you can use to express what you're feeling. And that's why I go to the sensations in the body. And now, how do we use breath with all of this? Breath, we all have go-to breaths, right? And typically when we're moving through something, we use the earth breath, which is a inhale and then you hold on the exhale. It's a calming breath. It grounds us. What we're unaware of at the time is that we're actually compacting information at the same time. And there are 4 breaths: earth, water, air, and fire, right? The earth breath is you inhale and then you exhale and you hold on the exhale. The air breath is you inhale and you hold on the inhale for 3 or 4 counts and then you exhale. The water breath is just a continuous flow of breathing. There's no stopping on the inhale or the exhale. And then there's the fire breath, right? It's like a baffle, right? And using breath to move the information that's moving in your body. So when we combine words, breath, and sensation, what we're doing is we're inviting ourselves to discover something we didn't know about ourselves. And what happens then is we find ourselves in a different state, right? As opposed to using breath as a strategy of, I'm going to breathe so that I go here. Sometimes it works and then it stops working. Whereas if I use breath as a way of being where I am in this moment, we often then find ourselves somewhere else. So again, vibrations of the words. And in my own experience, of my lived experience in the last 10 years or so, when I separated and divorced from my ex-husband, I had to shelve the word relationship. Relationship carried a vibration in my body that created a tightness inside of me, right? Because there were so many expectations around that. And so when I started to, see someone again, I said, I need to put the word relationship, I need to take that off the table. And he was like, okay, well, what are we going to call this? And I said, well, I'm in a co-creative process with you. And his was like, okay, well, how are we going to say that? What are we going to say that to? How are we going to tell that to people? Right. And so we're at a party or something and someone's, oh, you guys are in a relationship. And he kind of looked at me. Now, what are you going to say? And I said, well, actually, we're in a co-creative process of, working how we're going to be with one another. And sometimes we get, oh, that's a really interesting way of putting it, right? Or you get the glazed look in the eyes, or people just didn't care, right? For me, it was about using that word, that co-creative process, to shift that internal state of being that relationship held for me. Now I can use the word relationship because it carries a different vibration inside of me. And so this is the power of words and vibration. And to begin to notice the vibrations that our words carry so that we can then use other words to shift the vibration. So sometimes we need to take some words off the table. We need to stop using words. The biggest word for me in terms of journey is try. I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to try this new process. I'm going to try this new diet. Try has a subtext of cannot. And if you're on this session, watching this session with me, you are an aspect of me. And I'm going to make the assumption that you might carry a smidgen of stubbornness and defiance inside of you. And so when you say, I'm going to try, there's a part of you that says, oh, really? Well, we'll just see about that, right? And so how do I shift that vibration of the word try? I replace the word try with choose. And it goes with a question. Am I willing to choose? Am I willing to choose to engage this differently? Am I willing to choose this path? Am I willing to choose this, right? And then to notice what goes on in your body, because you're going to have a yes, no, or I don't know. And then you get to go, oh, there's a yes here. And I say choose. I choose yes. To say yes, I choose to say no. And even saying the words yes and no, I had to reframe that. Do I, if I choose this, am I honoring myself? And when I do that, I'm honoring another, right? So to honor myself, words are massive, absolutely massive. And they carry vibration. And my invitation for you is to consider the words that you use every day. And I use the word try, should, and but out there, right? Replace the word try and should with choose, and consider replacing the word but and or with and notice the difference that it makes in your body. And then engage your conversation from that place. Right? The digital bundle that I put together for you all is going to walk you through a series of videos that is going to invite you into even more conversations around this with yourself so that you can dive a little bit deeper into this conversation about words, breath, and sensations. And here's my last thing. When you shift your breath, when you choose to take a different breath, you cannot have the same thought, which means you cannot have the same word, which means you've now invited yourself into a different state of being inside of yourself. I hope you guys have found this useful and helpful. And create magnificently for yourselves.
Now we're both excited, but we're on that spectrum. Thank you. Oh my God. So
Yes.
we feel the expansion here. Again, we speak vibration. We've known Lisa for a while. We've worked with Lisa. We do things, but we also teach. We feel vibration. It's like when we have these conversations, it's like, yeah, the space opens. So I am so excited for what you're putting in the bundle for anyone who's going to take advantage of the digital bundle, because you are going to create this new relationship with words and choosing things. And you were going to say?
Yes, I was going to say, first of all, I want to know, guys, like you that are here live and those that are going to be in the replay later, what has resonated the most with you about what Lisa had said? Just share it, right? Like, what's the one thing that you're taking home with you? And I absolutely love what Lisa does, because a huge part of the things that we go through the process of shifting when we're healing is the way we speak to ourselves. We don't even realize the things we say about ourselves, the way we talk to ourselves, like inside of our heads. Those are charged with vibration as well. Okay, this is totally valid. And when it comes down to breath, I mean, from my experience, my personal and professional experience, I could say that 99% of people hold their breath at about 90% of the time. It is amazing how we don't walk around blue in our faces for lack of oxygen. Like, I mean, it's unbelievable the changes that happen in our mind, in our body, in our life when we start breathing. Just breathe, like the song says.
I want to say one other thing. I think, back to everyone having and the speakers sharing and the vulnerable stories, using that word relationship and co-creative process, brilliant, like a beautiful way to frame it. And I know the bundle, I can just imagine what it is. I'm excited for anyone that's going to take advantage of it, but starting to look at those words and just delve, like play with that in and of itself, that whole, and you will learn a little bit more about me tomorrow, but the body, it just like opens, like it's that. And yeah, everybody, this is so powerful. Emotional resilience, that is exactly huge. Thank you.
And I'm going to, like Alicia, she said that the thing she's taking with her is be good to yourself. It's so important. And then Sheila, how changing our words change our sensations in our body. Wow, I knew that, but it hit home today.
Yay.
There you go.
Yay. We love that. And again, we are so big on when Yasmilde said share, drop something. We are so big on these aha moments. When you voice those to a group like this, you get to see yourself again. And Lisa, you teach that, right? To continue to witness yourself is so big. So yay, kudos for sharing, because someone else out there is going to have wanted to hear that as well.
Yes.
Right?
And Juliana says, bring good energy to the words you tell yourself. Yes. And Sandra, words have vibration. To learn this is powerful in helping relationships healing. Absolutely. And one thing that we always talk about and teach around is that the number one most important relationship you will ever have is the one you establish with yourself. So how do you use your words in those conversations? Do you? Or are you giving yourself the silent treatment? That one is a big one as well. So Lisa, thank you so very much. I think that what she had put into the bundle, I mean, bring the value to, I don't even know now. Remember, only for $157, you could have this 5 weeks with us, this 6 week with Julie, and all of these
10 sessions and more, because I think you've got some downloadable stuff. There's all kinds of goodies.
Lisa, like in your bundle, in your thing. So there is so much that you can tap into on top of helping our children, because of all the proceeds go to it. So thank you, Lisa. That was super amazing. And remember, guys, around 4:30, we are having the Q&A. So if you have any specific questions
For
from
any
Lisa,
of the speakers, yeah.
yes, and Lisa, just bring them to 4, okay? She's going to be around to answer those questions.
Yay. Thank you again. Take care. Okie doke. So how's everybody doing with all of this? Because we're sort of, we've got 3 in, we've still got so much more to come. But we do love to hear how you are processing. And I think one of the other things to remember is there's going to be lots of information. And as we invited very early on, make some notes so that you see and you can, grab some of those keys that are hitting with you so that you can use these actionable tips that they're sharing. The other point is all of this, there's a time of integration that we talk about. You're going to learn so much and you are going to move through so much. So those emotions that we're talking about, they're there, they're fluid. We want you to love and embrace all of it because you are such a wide spectrum of emotions and it's just delving into the more of you. So